Welcome to the Tyler Werner Show, discussing all the latest in Philadelphia sports.
And it has been a whirlwind week of sorts following the Super Bowl week as the 76ers and their saga with Jahlil Okafor continues, and Ben Simmons, the awaiting of him to play for the Sixers team and make his debut. And meanwhile, Joel Embiid being rested and dancing up on stage and all this hoopla that's going on with the Sixers organization. Now Jahlil Okafor is going to rejoin the team for this Wednesday's matchup against the Boston Celtics. You turn it over to the Philadelphia Eagles, and could they perhaps be the lead team to land Alshon Jeffrey? It appears they are making a definite push to improve the position that is certainly lacking on this Eagles team.
And now, here's Tyler Werner.
And good day, everybody. Yes, another week here with some intriguing Sixers talk kind of making its return after the Super Bowl.
Man, I love y'all. I hope y'all keep trusting the process.
And yeah, certainly the process, if you so will say it, is a bit of an interesting phase right now. Sixers coming off a win with Dario Saric being the star. And yeah, I mean, again, slight meniscus tear with Joel Embiid right now, as he said, his 10th straight game. Ben Simmons, we continue to sit and wait as to when he's going to make his debut, which originally was thought to going to be happening in January, but that hasn't happened yet. And meanwhile, the Jahlil Okafor saga continues, as there were trade rumors last week that he was going to be traded, and that it be fit that essentially he does not travel with the team on the road trip and play that they were heading on. And now, it was out of the Inquirer yesterday, Jahlil Okafor is now rejoining the 76ers today for Wednesday's game, as the trade talks are now waning of Jahlil Okafor. He's likely to play tonight in Boston because the team is not as close to trading the second-year center as it seemed to be in recent days, the sources said. Although trade talks do continue, but the deadline is fast approaching. Now, I guess Nerlens Noel is likely to get the start tonight, and we'll stay tuned for that. Okafor will likely come off the bench with Nerlens Noel at center. And then we got the 9-day All-Star break coming up. And this is, again, another chapter in what has been a strange scenario. Meanwhile, the Sixers won 3 straight in all of this, without Joel Embiid out there, and continuing to wait Ben Simmons' debut, for that matter. Now, a team source confirmed multiple reports that Okafor flew to Boston on Tuesday to rejoin the team. However, Brett Brown said on WIP that Jahlil Okafor is scheduled to fly here in a couple of hours to join the team for a shoot-around. So Okafor did not travel with the team to Monday's game in Charlotte, nor did he play in Saturday's home game against Miami because the trade talks were progressing on several fronts. Now, instead of going to Charlotte, Okafor was in his hometown of Chicago, meanwhile. This is nothing new either. I mean, teams will do this when trade talks may be imminent, because you don't want to avoid you do want to avoid deal killing, an injury or whatnot. So this is nothing new. Trade deadline is 8 days away now, February the 23rd. Now, Okafor, he's been discussed to be traded to perhaps the Pelicans, the Bulls, the Nuggets, even the Trail Blazers, amongst other teams. But now, the trade talks are kind of dying down. It so appears to be. Now, meanwhile, okay, you got Joel Embiid, slight meniscus tear. You know, I understand that's something, I guess, be cautious with. They continue to be cautious with him. I guess for now, that's fine. I gotta say, though, I mean, he's been a very exciting player. He's emerged as, you know, a guy who's going to be a superstar in this league. My one, you know, again, this is nothing new. I'm sure we've all had it before, but this kind of concern that, you know, unfortunately, hopefully he's not going to be one of these guys that every now and then he's going to get dinged up and miss games here and there. I mean, I don't know. There is that angle to it. I understand they want to rest him a little bit. They don't want to further any injury here, make anything worse. I mean, guys have played on slight meniscus tears. And I know there's some fans that were going, you know, that are going to Sixers games and that were planning on seeing Joel Embiid there and are now not going to see him. It's, you know, and on top of that, probably expected Ben Simmons to be in the lineup at this point in time. And these fans are getting neither of the above. I don't know, it's an oddball situation here. And I kind of feel bad for Coach Brett Brown. Because meanwhile, Brian Colangelo is not really speaking on any of this. You know, maybe the general manager ought to speak a little more on this. You know, Brett Brown kind of has to speak for this about injuries and why this guy's not playing. Where in the world is Jahlil Okafor and whatnot?
I just think somebody owes us an explanation, that's all.
I don't know, Colangelo, you maybe want to give us a little something here? I don't know. Now, when it comes to Joel Embiid, of course, there's the Meek Mill dancing situation, if you want to call it a situation. And look, I know national shows are going to take this as a headline topic and try to exaggerate the significance of this. I mean, look, we know, you know, before even getting in the story, Joel Embiid has embraced the 76ers fan base. He's embraced his opportunity in this team. He's not, you know, he worked on his shooting and everything that during his downtime, refining his game as he approached this season where he ultimately made his debut. If the guy was fooling around and not producing, getting himself into some more trouble, or, you know, getting himself into something that's actually trouble, then I think I would have more of an issue. I think others would have more of an issue here within the 76ers fan base. But look, if the guy, yeah, he's not playing right now, slight meniscus tear, you know, that's fine and dandy. I'm not going to criticize him for, you know, at a Meek Mill concert for kind of being called up, dabbing, whatever, and dancing. I mean, so what? He's not, he's not like doing anything terrible here.
Man, I love y'all.
So he's in attendance for the show, hometown show. And Embiid's one of Meek Mill's friends. And Embiid, again, one of Embiid's favorite songs were played from Meek Mill. He started dabbing, removed his sweatshirt, and then his t-shirt underneath. For all at the Wells Fargo Center to see when they're usually there to see Embiid in a basketball game, I guess. I mean, videos and tweets went viral of Embiid's moves, and some people hated it. It's whatever. Again, the whole thing that it revealed the next day that Embiid had a slight meniscus tear, I guess, didn't help. But at the end of the day, this doesn't amount to a hill of beans to me. The guy's having a little fun. I mean, it is what it is, really. That's how I look at it. I mean, Rob Gronkowski was out at the Patriots parade last week. He took his shirt off, and he was, Stone Cold Steve Austin style, downing some beers, and, I understand that's a Super Bowl parade after winning a Super Bowl, and, even though Gronkowski didn't play. Okay, well, here's Joel Embiid. All right, he's not playing right now. He's getting rested or whatever, but he's having a little fun. And the whole idea of dancing, like, it's on a slight meniscus tear, and come on, it's nothing. Again, the Sixers are going to, Colangelo, he's going to be overly cautious. They're going to be overly cautious, I guess, at this time. And it is what it is. But it's not like Embiid, by the same token, is overdoing anything. I mean, it's not one of these situations where, he can't, you can't stand up, doctor's orders, it's nothing like that. And I'm sure he could have played if he and the Sixers organization wanted him to, but again, this is the same organization that has been continuously leaving Ben Simmons out of the picture here on the court, and we just kind of continue to sit and wonder, where is he? So I don't know. Again, that's Brian Colangelo's ordeal. I don't know what else to say. I mean, other than maybe, again, it would just help maybe if Colangelo gives us a little bit of an idea here. I mean, once again, here you have Jahlil Okafor rejoining the team now after trade rumors are dying down, and, I don't know. Again, months ago, it was speculated that by this point, at least Okafor or Noel would be out of here. Maybe both of them. Well, guess what? Here they still are. So I don't know. We're going to milk them and try to get more out of them? I don't know. But we'll see. We'll continue to, stay tuned as to what's ahead here with the Sixers organization, and we'll see, with this whole Boston game tonight, how that shakes out. And we got the All-Star break for the NBA upon us. Again, a 9-day break. And then I guess perhaps after that, we'll see. We'll see when Ben Simmons makes his debut. Joel Embiid maybe gets back into the fold. And we'll see how the home stretch here for the 76ers season shakes out. By the way, the Heat, too. The Heat were on, what, a 13-game winning streak? And without Joel Embiid. And still no Ben Simmons. And the shaky Jahlil Okafor saga. The Sixers ended that 13-game winning streak. I mean, it's like, you know...
Oh, man!
I don't know. It's very odd because they're still winning some games in the midst of all this. It's just odd. It really is. That's how most of us describe it. Now, shifting gears here momentarily. You know, Sixers and Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, we're getting some Eagles talk back into the mix. We got some fun things to cover on this show as well. We'll get to them as we move through here, but I wanted a quick touch before the first break on the Eagles wide receiver search, as there are several options. We'll talk about them. I know they've been actively, interested in bringing Alshon Jeffrey here. He's one of the... Kenny Stills was another one. Look, both improvements, regardless. Do they draft Mike Williams? Improvement. And a young guy. Now, this is the thing. As we start approaching free agency in a few weeks in March, we got the scouting combine coming up soon. As, of course, we're on the road to that long countdown until we have football once again. I'll talk about the off-season things. I'll preface this with, when it comes to this Eagles team and dealing with the wide receiver position, which, along with cornerback, having released Leotis McKelvin last week, as a matter of fact.
Hit him up! Move him out!
Which many Eagle fans, are kind of happy about. Cornerback and wide receiver position are the two major positions of need here. And you know what? It appears that the Eagles are attacking the receiver position head on. Which I'm glad, because, really, when's the last time they've really addressed this position in an offseason in a way that you felt like, good, this is great. I like what they're doing here. Where you could go into next season, or you went into next season, and you felt good about what they did. Ever since, again, Deshaun Jackson was moved out of here, and they didn't really fix the hole that left. And same with Jeremy Maclin when he went to Kansas City, and they didn't really address ultimately that either. They hope Nelson Aguilar could fill Jeremy Maclin's shoes. They hope Josh Huff could fill Deshaun Jackson's shoes here, and neither of the above really happened. And now here you're in a situation where, again, you've had Nelson Aguilar and Dorial Green-Beckham as like your starting outside guys. And earlier in the season, Josh Huff, until, of course, he had the gun situation and was ultimately cut from the team. Yeah. Now, they got a chance to get Alshon Jeffrey here, Kenny Stills, because they draft Mike Williams. There are some other options as well that we'll talk about. And I know Deshaun Jackson has been one of them. And again, I'll just say this. I prefer at this point that it's a guy who's younger, either in his prime or younger, because this team isn't quite ready to win a championship. So, okay, maybe, Alshon Jeffrey maybe has a few years of potentially great play out of him. Certainly it's probably been harder I give him the benefit of the doubt. It's been harder in Chicago with their quarterback situation and Jay Cutler's just pedestrian play. It's been harder. I mean, they had a bad season this year. The last couple seasons haven't been too good for them. And, of course, Alshon Jeffrey had that suspension as well. That didn't help his cause. But, a guy who's, 26, 27, that's fine. Deshaun Jackson, he's in his 30s now. And if his speed starts to go, what kind of game does he really have? And I'm hard-pressed to say, but it seems like, he rarely plays three or four games in a row anymore. He's kind of like a part-time receiver. He has some explosive games, without question. And, look, he's better than, even right now, I'm sure, even still, in his 30s now, better than Aguilar, and better than Dorial Green-Beckham, what they have in those guys. But, again, it's the upside not being quite... Look, if there's no other options out there, if there is no Alshon Jeffrey, no Kenny Stills, no Mike Williams that you can draft, none of that, then, yeah, I'd take Deshaun Jackson over Nelson Aguilar and Dorial Green-Beckham. But, I feel like this whole thing with bringing Deshaun Jackson back here, I feel like it's a forced thing. I don't know. I feel like people are kind of forcing it. I just prefer they go a little younger. We'll talk more about it right here on the Tyler Werner Show. Stay tuned for more right here on the Tyler Werner Show.
What is it about good sex that makes me have to crap? Guess it's all that pumping. Pump and dump.
Pump and dump. Never stop the pumping. Always keep her satisfied. Pump and dump.
You really jarred something loose, Tiger.
What defines the perfect ball? It's not just about size when it comes to Brady and Belichick's slow-cooked Italian meatballs.
I've handled dozens of balls over the past week. We prepare our balls over time. The texture of the balls is very easy to identify.
And that slow-cooked texture is one of the qualities that make Brady and Belichick's meatballs stand above the rest. But it's also Brady's unique rubbing process that only he has the authority to perform.
When I pick those balls out, to me they're perfect. I don't want anyone touching the balls after that. I don't want anyone rubbing them. To me, those balls are perfect.
Once the balls reached an equilibrium, we're down to the rubbing process.
Brady and Belichick's slow-cooked Italian meatballs. When you're looking to make it a pasta night, or doing a little catering. Like Brady would say, to me, those balls are perfect. And we're back on the Tyler Werner Show. Another edition. Here we are in mid-February already. We're starting to, we're going to be experiencing some warmer weather once again here in the PA area, Philadelphia region. This Sunday, it's going to be it's going to be 60. I mean, geez. Just had our like, I guess, first significant snowstorm last week. I guess if you want to call it significant. I mean, it wasn't. It was a few inches over here in, northeastern Lancaster County for me. And, it's just been a very, underwhelming winter, like it or not, which I'm assuming most people like, with the little snow we really had. And it's, again, it's like that myth. Sometimes people say, like people were saying in the summer, like, oh, it's going to be a bad winter or whatever, for whatever reason, or it's what the Farmer's Almanac says, and that's what these caterpillars crawling around that are all black, and, that's, I don't know, sometimes I don't get these myths. Sometimes they just don't add up. And they just ultimately don't prove to be true. And I'll tell you another myth that isn't true via this week's Call Out of the Week here on the Tyler Werner Show.
It's time for Tyler Werner's Call Out of the Week.
I just think somebody owes us an explanation, that's all.
What's the matter with you? Loser! You're a loser!
Are you kidding me?
Well, I have a microphone, and you don't.
So you will listen to every word I have to say!
Yeah, I don't know who's heard this. It skeeved me, really. Is anybody a fan of Jeopardy out there? Yeah, in fact, we have some music right here for, the Jeopardy theme music, or at least one of their themes that they use during portions of the show. I don't really watch it, and I'm especially not inclined to watch it after what took place last week on the show. An underhanded shot at Eagles fans, essentially, that doesn't add up. Alex Trebek and the production team of Jeopardy are this week's Call Out of the Week. Yeah, I mean, who'd have thunk it? Last week on the Tyler Werner Show, it was Roger Goodell, who, is not a first-timer as far as being called out here on the Tyler Werner Show. But, it's one of those things, like, I sit last week, and you think, like, oh, next week it's going to be, like, just before any of this happened, like, Well, I have the audio here of a question on Jeopardy. It was, I don't know, last week or whatever, sometime after the Tyler Werner Show. Here's what it sounded like.
This, as a member of the Philadelphia Eagles, will lose possession for your team and get you booed. Sarah.
What is a fumble?
Fumble, yeah.
All right. So there it is.
Are you kidding me?
All right, first of all, again, the obvious, like, well, what? If another team fumbles, and maybe this is, is this referring to, say, the game against the Cowboys, where the Eagles all but had the game won, but after a critical fumble at the worst time possible, perhaps, giving the Cowboys the ball back, and ultimately the Eagles losing that game to the Cowboys? Are you telling me that any other team out there in that situation fumbles and loses possession of the ball and then goes on to lose the game? You mean to tell me, does that fan base cheer their team after that? Come on. That's terrible.
Come on, that's terrible!
Thank you, Doug. Coach Doug. That's ridiculous. And some people, people want to say, "Oh, we're too critical," or we're more critical. We're quick to boo people out of town or want them out of town. It's like, well, look, when you haven't had winning in this town, when you haven't had a Super Bowl ring that this Philadelphia Eagles fan base continues to get made fun of for not having, then you want to throw it back at us? You want to throw it back at the fan base? When this fan base continues to get joked about? how the Giants have 4 rings and the Redskins have 3 and the Cowboys have 5. Oh, and the Eagles, they don't have any. And Pittsburgh Steelers over in the western part of the state has 6. The Eagles don't have any. I mean, come on. And the whole booing Santa Claus thing that is just ancient history that people want to bring up, and it's absolute silliness. There's a few idiots boo, and Don McNabb at the draft, because, a sports talk host from WIP wants to get a posse together and boo that selection. And, come on, that's not the whole fan base. And you'll find bad apples in any fan base as it is. But this is just ridiculous. A lot of respect lost for Alex Trebek and, his team that thought this was funny. Like, are you serious? Like, yet another uncalled for shot that just doesn't add up? Again, you mean to tell me that other fan bases wouldn't boo your team when you fumble the football? You think New England... You think during the Super Bowl, New England fans were happy when LeGarrette Blount fumbled the football and it looked like the Falcons were going... You think they were happy when Tom Brady threw that pick 6? Look, that's with 4 Super Bowls in the bank. But you mean to tell me that, in the moment, fans aren't going to be happy? Like, I mean, it's just ridiculous. Second of all, I want to play it again. And then stop it.
This, as a member of the Philadelphia Eagles, will lose possession for your team and get you booed. Sarah.
What is a fumble?
Fumble.
All right. Now, the question also... See, this is where, you'd think, this game show that is supposed to be loaded with book-smart people and, just... stuff that isn't really, it's great impressive knowledge or whatever, but ultimately it's not, very important to know all of it, or as much of it as some of these people know. You mean to tell me that the question basically insinuates that doing this, the fumble, will lose possession? Well, what if you recover your own fumble? Basically, the question has a logical loophole here and insinuates that every fumble loses possession. When that's not necessarily true. Wendell Smallwood, he fumbles the ball, but if the Eagles recover it, they still have possession of the ball. Genius. You gotta be kidding me. You're going to try to throw a shot at the Philadelphia Eagles that, again, it's just kind of uncalled for, and it's tired at this point. And you'll get blasted, but you get blasted by those who actually have, some logical reasoning behind, when the Eagles have no championships and you fumble the football in the worst possible situation when you have a chance to beat, one of the best teams in football. And then you're going to throw at the same time a logical loophole out here. That, I guess if you fumble the football, you lose possession, you're going to get booed. Well, that's not necessarily true, because if you recover your own fumble, then so what? You still have possession of the ball. Man, that just... Again, that just... That skeeves me. Really does. Uncalled for nonsense.
I am pissed off.
Yeah. See if I watch Jeopardy. I mean, I never really do anyways, but... No, because I'm actually into watching sports. Into watching reasons why, reasons that come to be why Eagles fans boo when things get... And you know what? We talk about it. We try to think how this team, how the team can get better. Just like we're talking about that right here with the offensive side, with the Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver position. I mean, come on, people. This perception out there that only Eagle fans, supposedly, are the only ones that boo their team when they fumble the football and lose possession. Or is this question, well, fumbling the football and always losing possession, apparently, because that's the logical loophole behind this question that I don't understand how they don't see. But then again, there's, I guess, sometimes there's intelligence in different ways. Anyhow, let's move on here. I've had enough. Had enough of this topic, I guess.
You know what? Enough! Enough!
But nevertheless, it was a worthy call out of the week. All right, so let's get back to the conversation here, and that was the Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver position. I mentioned earlier. Look, the position number one of need here on this Eagles team, you got a young quarterback in Carson Wentz. And I say go younger, if that makes any sense. And that, to me, that does not include Deshaun Jackson in the mix. If it's, there's no other option, then yeah, I guess you maybe you take Deshaun Jackson instead. But anyhow, to me, this is here are the options in free agency. Of course, Alshon Jeffrey, which is, I guess, maybe option number one, if you want to call it that, in free agency. March 9th, we'll start free agency. So we got about, 3 weeks. Alshon Jeffrey's at the top of this class. If the Eagles are going to and look, they might trade Michael Kendricks and save, several million in cap space. They're trying to get Jason Peters to take a pay cut. So they're trying to do this and that with money. And
he wants your money!
Yeah. So they may, if they're going to overpay for a guy at a position of need, Alshon Jeffrey may fit this bill. Now, the Bears, I guess they could still tag or re-sign Jeffrey. But say he hits the open market, he's going to be an attractive option. He just turned 27, as a matter of fact. Yesterday. Maybe should have sang a happy belated birthday song or something. But anyhow. He's had 5 seasons so far. So again, he's 27. So, he should still have like 4 good years in him. We'll say. So there you go. Now, the last couple of years have been subpar for him. Again, he was in 2015. He was injured, missed 9 games, and again the PED suspension last year took 4 games off of him. And the team was just a mess last year, this past season as well. Now, but again, his downfield ability is the dangerous part of him, which he averages 15 yards a catch in his career. The Eagles this past season, Wentz's yards per throw, it was, 6-7 yards it seemed at time. It was like half of that. Half of Alshon Jeffrey's yardage per catch in his career. In his young career, fairly young career, he had 17 40-plus yard plays in his career. So he's not just a big target. So I think you may overpay for him. I mean, maybe Alshon Jeffrey, I think, works. He'd instantly become your number one wide receiver. The only thing is demand may be high for him. So we just have to... Again, he's probably... He's option number one this offseason of wide receivers. Now, and the Eagles' cap space, again, is another issue, mate, perhaps. Unless they free some of it up in the next few weeks. Like the Niners. They have some more cap space. And they need wide receivers. All right, here's the other name brought up, obviously Deshaun Jackson. I already mentioned I'd go younger at this position. But nevertheless, he spent 6 years with the Eagles. Jackson did have a previous relationship with Coach Doug Peterson. He had 56 catches for 1,005 yards and 4 touchdowns this past season. So, again, the deep threat, obviously, Deshaun Jackson's still there. However, he's already turned 30. Again, you want, how much money would you give Deshaun Jackson at that point in his career? Kenny Stills from Miami. He's only 24. Maybe, about a similar skill set. In 4 years with Miami and New Orleans, Stills has averaged 16.7 yards per catch. This past season, he finished with 42 catches for 726 yards, 9 touchdowns with the Dolphins last season. But would Miami pay to keep him? Terrell Pryor. If he hits the market, which it might be unlikely, but if he does, Pryor had 77 catches for 1,007 yards, 4 touchdowns in his first full season as wide receiver. Browns, they have money to spend, and they've made it clear they do want to keep him. So, if there's no deal done by March 7th, it seems like he'd be hitting the market, and maybe the Eagles take him as an option. Alright, well, we got to take another break here in the Tyler Werner Show. We'll discuss more on the other side then with these receivers. There's a couple other names also on the free agent market, including Pierre Garçon and Victor Cruz, who was released by the Giants. We'll discuss on the other side. Maybe hit the Sixers a little more as they take on Boston, with Jahlil Okafor returning to the lineup. And also, for those who haven't heard it, we got some more. We got some Bill Belichick audio once again in rare form after winning the Super Bowl and discussing it via the Patriots parade last week.
Well, as you know, I'm not on Snapface and all that.
Bill Belichick in rare form. We'll talk about it on the other side right here on the Tyler Werner Show. Stay tuned for more.
It's no big news flash that many people, you included, eat as a way to medicate themselves. You can choose to worry about it or not. You can choose to panic about your situation or not. It's clear what you must do in order to make important changes.
5 letters here. RELAX. relax. We're going to be okay.
In order for you ever to effectively figure out and map how to get to where you want to go, you have to first know exactly where you are starting.
RELAX. Relax.
You have to be willing to change what you're doing. You can change your behavior.
Investigators are calling it the heist of the century. The grand robbery of Brady and Belichick's slow-cooked Italian meatballs, committed by some apparently hungry NFL officials who love their balls.
When I came in Monday morning, I was shocked to learn of the news reports about the balls and the process that happened between when they were prepared and went to the officials and went to the game.
As shocked as Belichick was of the news, perhaps Brady, the last man out of the kitchen on that Sunday night, was even more shocked to hear of the news of the theft.
I have a process that I go through. It was the same process that I always go through. When I felt them, they were perfect. I mean, I wouldn't want anyone touching those. I would zip those things up and lock them away, and that's what I thought I was doing.
As Brady and Belichick up the ante on their ball security, you'll just have to pick up a pack of their meatballs the next time you hit the grocery store and enjoy just how perfect these balls really are.
Tom's personal preferences on his ball security are something that he can talk about in much better detail than I could possibly provide.
And we're back right here on the Tyler Werner Show on this Wednesday, the 15th of February edition. And I had a little preview, a little bit of audio. Actually, I wanted to share with it for those who haven't. Bill Belichick in rare form at the Patriots victory parade last week in Boston. Starting a little chant of his own. As a matter of fact, at the parade. Let's take a little listen into it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for coming out today. This is tremendous. Let me tell you, these players, they worked harder than any team I've ever coached. They came to work every day, and there were no days off. 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 Go Pats!
All right, so there was Bill Belichick. No days off is the new chant.
No days off. No days off.
You know, it's kind of funny because we were talking Sixers here on the Tyler Werner Show today, and how Jahlil Okafor, had a few days off because of the trade rumors, and now he reunited for the game against the Boston Celtics tonight. And then you have, in the meanwhile, Joel Embiid, the Sixers being cautious with Joel Embiid, having sat out his 10th game with a micro tear in his knee. And meanwhile, on one of his days off, going to that concert and getting up on stage and dancing. And then you got Ben Simmons, who, again, continues to just be a mystery as far as when he's going to play this season, if at all. So, again, I mean, this is one of these things, too, with Brian Colangelo. I mean, just speak to the fan base here. Like, especially with Ben Simmons. I mean, originally it was January he's going to make his debut. And then it was like, all right, well, maybe early February. Maybe later February. Now who knows? I mean, throw the fan base a bone here. rather than leaving everyone kind of just on edge about when perhaps will he even suit up, if at all. You know, again, it goes back to the whole like with the Chip Kelly era here with the Philadelphia Eagles and not really communicating to the fan base. Well, you close that kind of door, and when you start failing here, then you are going to be boycotted. The fan base is going to tell you to pack your bags and just get out of here.
Was that like a wise-ass comment?
It's just kind of, Brett Brown's kind of has to kind of speak, and it's kind of silly, really. I mean, all you have to do is, like, what's the timetable here? Is Ben Simmons not going to play this season, or do you have something, or what?
I just think somebody owes us an explanation, that's all.
So, again, we continue to wait that, and, as we head into the All-Star break, and Joel Embiid, rest. I mean, I'm sure he wanted to play, if he could play, which he can play, but the Sixers want to be extra cautious with him. So, that's pretty much that in a nutshell for now. Now, given that we're coming off of Valentine's Day, for those who may have celebrated out there, hope everybody had a happy Valentine's Day. If you happen to celebrate it, as it's now the day after. So, but anyhow, we have the 2016 season edition, or 2017 Valentine's edition of NFL Valentine's cards. So here we go. One with these all have like a to and from and a picture of somebody or a logo. So here we go. Picture of Colin Kaepernick with that ever-growing afro that says, "I'd get on one knee for you." Here's one with the Atlanta Falcons logo on it. "Are you a 25-point lead? Because I want to blow you." Dallas Cowboys logo on another one. "You must not be the Lombardi Trophy, because I'm taking you home." Brock Osweiler from the Houston Texans. "Roses are red, violets are blue. Pay me $72 million, and I'll throw an interception to you."
Interception. Now our side's got the ball. Sorry.
New England Patriots logo. "I promise I won't cheat on you again."
This is the end of this subject for me for a long time.
To me, those balls are perfect.
So I guess if there's a Valentine's out there that you have that you've cheated on before, and I guess maybe trying to win them back, I guess that's the card, huh? Odell Beckham Jr. on one, who was notorious in that playoff game against the Green Bay Packers in the wild card round for dropping a few balls. It says, "I won't let this love slip through my hands." And, of course, here's another shot at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles logo on another Valentine's card. "Hope you aren't looking for a ring." Good one. Like that hasn't been beaten to death. The San Diego Chargers. Well, I just said San Diego, who are now going to be the Los Angeles Chargers after making that move recently. I'd drop everything and move to be with you. Here's one with the Cleveland Browns logo on it. You'd be my first overall pick. Then I'll screw you over and over. How about that one? Here's one with like a smiling Pete Carroll, complete with the usual coach's headset. Roses are red, I threw it. The Falcons had a 28-3 lead, but then they blew it. This one with Tony Romo. No one can replace me in your life, in parentheses, except maybe Dak Prescott. Eddie Lacy. I brought you chocolate, but I ate it. Here's a good one with Bill Belichick on it. Kind of like a morose looking, like not amused at all, very serious looking Bill Belichick. We're on to Easter.
I've been to the grocery store in a couple of years.
Here's one with Johnny Manziel. Will you beer my Valentine? Tom Brady. I'll keep my balls inflated for you.
To me, those balls are perfect.
Let's see. Oh, Roger Goodell. You're fine.
He wants your money!
Blair. Here's one with Blair Walsh. I'd blow you a kiss, but it would go wide left. Brett Favre. My love for you won't retire. Another Pete Carroll one. We could run away together, but I'll pass. And then just an absolute, just a card with nothing on it, no headline whatsoever, no words, just to, from, and Bill Belichick's face. And then finally, the last one has Andy Reid with a microphone as if he's at a press conference. And it says, wait, it's Valentine's Day? So there you have it.
People, I mean,
all right, so that wraps up NFL edition of Valentine's cards for 2017. Look forward to seeing some more next year, maybe, on here the Tyler Werner Show. There's some good ones, for sure. All right, so we're just about wrapped up on the Tyler Werner Show here. I just wanted to kind of, again, we were talking about free agency that is approaching and the Philadelphia Eagles and how they're going to address, say, the wide receiver position. I'm all for, and look, we know, too, they have to improve the cornerback position without question. Wide receiver, cornerback, the two main positions of need right now for the Philadelphia Eagles team. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, you can maybe find, in the second round, maybe you can get an improvement in the cornerback position. I don't know if they, I don't know if they turn to free agents for that, but we threw out the Alshon Jeffrey option. There's other Kenny Stills, which I'd be for that as well. Terrell Pryor, if he happened to be available, but there's less of a chance of that. There's Kenny Britt, who he finished with 68 catches for 1,002 yards and 5 touchdowns this season. That was with the Rams too. You know, that was with Jared Goff, I guess, the latter portion of the season, and just obviously not much really at the quarterback position over there with the Los Angeles Rams. You got Pierre Garçon, who's, you know, getting up there, and Victor Cruz. But again, both of those guys probably too old for me. Garçon, I mean, he actually had 79 catches for 1,041 yards, only 3 touchdowns. So I mean, he was productive. Although, you know, he's gonna be 31 in August. So I mean, again, too old. Cruz is 30. You know, I mean, again, in the draft, I mean, you got an interesting draft coming up, where Mike Williams, hey, if he's available at the Eagles selection, I mean, he might not go in the top 10. I mean, he's got size too. 6'3", 225 pounds. I mean, like this past season, he finished with 98 catches for 1,361 yards and 11 touchdowns. I mean, you know, guy's got some potential. Corey Davis from West Michigan, another option. 6'3", 213 pounds. Had 97 catches for 1,500 yards and 19 touchdowns last season. So, I mean, you know, it's got some options there. Now, you know, both guys could be off the board, but if one is available, I mean, take them. Or if you find a way, you know, you want to move up and get one. Those are, to me, those are two, I guess, golden options as far as young guys are concerned, that can be productive and that you can build with, as you build with Carson Wentz. And again, they kind of need a couple cornerbacks now. I don't know if this can be addressed in the free agency. We'll talk about it as we approach free agency. But and again, I mean, they could use that first round draft pick on a cornerback. They could go in the free agency and select one of these receivers. I mean, if you draft, I mean, let's say you get Kenny Stills in free agency, and you draft Mike Williams or Davis out of West Michigan. I mean, that solidifies your receiving core right there, I think, for a decent amount of time. Because again, Stills, a young guy, and fairly young guy, and you got a rookie with some good potential, explosive and with prototypical size, in either Mike Williams or Corey Davis. So, and then you got Jordan Matthews in the slot. So that pretty much, they could theoretically kind of solve their woes at receiver. Have a 1 and a 2 locked up for some time here, if they want to. And then, I don't know, maybe they get a cornerback late. I don't know if they turn to free agency for that either. I mean, we've seen that not necessarily work out in the past when the Eagles have tried to do that. But it'll be interesting to see. They got options. And we'll continue to, discuss them. I mean, even Brandon Cooks could be the subject of trade talks if he's somehow available. I mean, there's other guys out there too. I mean, Brian Quick, Kamar Aiken, even Michael Floyd. If somebody, that'd be an improve if the DUI thing. But anyhow, there are a lot of options on the table. We got free agency coming up in a few weeks. And we'll see in the meantime. See in the meantime who else may get released from this Eagles team. May clear up some cap space as well. And say like Michael Kendricks gets traded or whatever. That'll free up several million. Which, again, can be used in the free agency market. So we shall see, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll discuss it right here on the Tyler Werner Show, as always, along with more Sixers talk and when necessary, Flyers talk. Who again, it just kind of looks. It just has this bleak feeling. Like, when are they going to ascend? When are they going to become an elite team? Where's the progress with them? I'm not seeing it right now. But anyhow, that'll wrap things up on the Tyler Werner Show for today. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. And stay tuned for next week's edition of the Tyler Werner Show.